the things that we've been doing, particularly through the Chinese Chamber, is to assist companies over here to engage more into Asia, and also to help people out of Asia, in particular China, through delegations or through businesses, how they would engage with Australian companies and how they would deal with culturally, how they deal with political, and to deal with the regulatory issues that they face when they invest or do business in WA. Plus, as well, is to look at the immigration issues and to say if they wanted to live in Western Australia, how could they go about doing it? And this is sort of things that the Chinese Chamber does to help people over here and people over there to connect. It's more a bridge between the two communities.
I'd just like to pick up on a couple of points, Tony. I guess for a lot of people, they think of Australia and engagement with China, they think of digging things out of the ground or shipping coal or iron ore to China. But services trade is very important, and you've already mentioned your connection with Curtin in terms of export of education, in that case accounting, but also legal services. So do you find that in that area of legal services or education, as opposed to shipping goods, there are particular problems or issues in dealing with the Chinese market?
Well, that's a good question, Michael. I think it's probably right to say that traditionally we have thought of all our exports in the mineral industry, iron ore, for example, gold, commodities. But what we have forgotten is the other half of the economy, which is the service sector. So you talked about legal services. That's just one aspect of it. Professional services, education is a huge thing. Over there, for example, in China, there's a lot of development now of the middle class. And so not just they need development in terms of the physical products like iron ore or steel, but the consumption has increased. Now, as they become more sophisticated in that way, they will need more professional services. And I'm not just talking about legal or accounting. We're talking about engineering, IT, a lot of intellectual property things or services they need over there. The sort of issues that you're going to face are this. Yes, the market is opened up, but it's not opened up fully. There is still a cultural divide. There are still different regulatory differences, and the way people approach businesses are different. Language is still an issue. So when people over here want to do an export over there, you're not just trying to export a product that is the same as you export to Singapore or Indonesia or UK. It's slightly different, a different product to, let's say, into China, and it's different regions will have different characteristics, and you just need to understand culturally how that fits in and socially how that fits in, because the demand. Let's say we take education as an example, where Curtin is at, dealing with the Chinese foreign students and trying to get them to stay here in WA. It's very different to, let's say, into Singapore, Malaysia, or Indonesia, and there are differences. It might be just subtle differences that people think about, but it becomes substantial when you're trying to ensure that there's a good product that you can actually export to them. But I'm fully aware that university, we have a great university product in WA. If we are in WA wanting ourselves to be known as the intellectual capital of the world, that we want to be a great city, that's where we should be. That's where we dominate, and that's where we can be very good at, and that's where we can export greatly into places like China and build, for example, the Curtin University name and brand.
Generally, companies, if they're wanting to export services into China, need a physical presence in the country. Does that need a Chinese partner? Does it need, for example, companies to go in and set up an office?
I think so. I mean, it's horses for courses. It depends on what sort of business you're in and what stage you're in. If you're just starting out in terms of trying to export, you might not have the capacity to just establish a business in China. Clearly, having a local partner in China, it is a plus. But you need to find partners who are reputable, who are trusted. And certainly, to find out about that and to find out the traps within a new region, it is best to approach people who've done it before, talk to them, talk to chambers and organizations such as the WHI's chamber, talk to our government agencies, Austria, the Department of State Development. They are perfect partners to talk to try and assist you to get over there. For example, in China, we have established a representative office in Hangzhou, purely to address that situation, so that we have people on the ground that can assist people to understand the market and to help them address any of these kind of questions or issues that people may have.
Tony, generally when we think of China, we think of Beijing, maybe Shanghai, but I guess the Chinese market is very varied. Can you tell us a little bit about the different market segments perhaps, or the different geographical areas in China, and perhaps how they differ and how companies may approach those differences?
China, when people look at China, people look at, think about Beijing, Shanghai, maybe Guangzhou, because those are the big cities. There are a lot of opportunities in the second and the third tier cities. Cities like Ningbo, Hangzhou, Chengdu, you may have heard about Shenzhen, but within Shenzhen themselves is another area within Shenzhen, which is going to be effectively the next Dubai within Shenzhen. So there are many cities within China that people have a lot of opportunities to look at. Each of these cities are way bigger in terms of size, in terms of economic activity than even Perth or even in Sydney or Melbourne. If you concentrate just purely on Beijing and Shanghai, you're not tapping the full opportunity. And you're approaching a very mature market. A lot of the second tier cities are where all the opportunities lie, whether it's for education or for any exports of services. Those are really the opportunities.